of the increase, or a percentage of the volume, or a percentage of the profit, or a percentage of the business from a given avenue or product line. And bring the best people to bear, not only creatively, but also prestigiously. It's two-way. You can license brand name, technology, methodology, promotion, marketing expert systems, product services, private label, processes, image, design, facsimile, territories, markets, industries. It's what you did, really, Stan, isn't it? You got a license, right? Or is it a franchise?
Right, a franchise, and you have to have a license.
Okay. Core competency consulting, tracking and rendering world-class expertise on a performance compensation basis. I mean, I do a lot of things. I get a fee, but most of it's on the upside. You know, somebody will pay me 10, 15 grand a month against 25% of the profit, or plus 25% of the profit. Maybe you can't justify or afford all kinds of experts, but if you can convert and translate what their expertise should mean if properly deployed in your business to improve productivity or profitability or reduced downtime or rejects or cash flow or collections, and you can then pay them on a variable, and you know how to present it, which hopefully some time will allow later in this week, you can tie up all kinds of people who you could never afford to work for. I mean, how many consultants are there in this room? If you were certain that a formula could be created that could measure, monitor, and report the improvement, the enhancement that your service rendered, and you could come up with a formula that would compensate you not just fairly, but overly generously on the variable side, and you were certain that the company would follow through, because if they didn't, they agreed to a penalty payment, would you be willing to not be paid your fee and be vested? Yes, you would, of course. If you made many times more, wouldn't you? Well, but you can negotiate that if you know how to do it. You can have 1 million consultants and every expertise imaginable, as long as you can figure out how to pay them for it. You can structure it in many different ways. Reclamation, you can recapture sunk cost, time, effort, expert systems, learning curve, ads, processes, technology, methodology, systems, market intelligence. I don't know what auto ads mean. Oh yeah, auto ads. We had a guy that created one ad and licensed it in 150 markets. He made millions of dollars doing it one time. One time. We've had real estate people do that, having a system, and they license to 50 other offices in 50 other companies. I had a person who sold her real estate business in Oklahoma. It was very successful. She was on a 3-year non-compete. She was making about $500,000 a year. She came to me really still missing real estate, not wanting what to do. I said, well, what's your core competence? She said, well, I'm better at listing properties than anybody else, and listing is the big leverage, because if you list, it's like Tom Sawyer. You sit back and everybody else sells the property. You don't have to work. I said, well, that's the answer. Go outside of the geography you're restricted from working in and license everybody else in your listing process. And she did. And she made $1 million a year, having more fun than you can imagine. Reclamation, you can recapture sunk cost, time, effort, expert systems, learning curve, ads, processes, technology, methodology, systems, market intelligence. I don't know what auto ads mean. Oh yeah, auto ads. We had a guy that created one ad and licensed it in 150 markets. He made millions of dollars doing it one time. One time. We've had real estate people do that, having a system, and they license to 50 other offices in 50 other companies. I had a person who sold her real estate business in Oklahoma. It was very successful. She was on a 3-year non-compete. She was making about $500,000 a year. She came to me really still missing real estate, not wanting what to do. I said, well, what's your core competence? She said, well, I'm better at listing properties than anybody else, and listing is the big leverage, because if you list, it's like Tom Sawyer. You sit back and everybody else sells the property. You don't have to work. I said, well, that's the answer. Go outside of the geography you're restricted from working in and license everybody else in your listing process. And she did. And she made $1 million a year, having more fun than you can imagine. One of the best ways to rapid growth is to open, develop, create new products or markets, take over, repurpose, package together other companies' products or services, acquire somebody else's sales distribution. It's like, I'll come to this, but we've had people all the time where you go in a market, a decent provider goes out of business. They have a yellow page ad. They've got lots of historic, old past clients that had no bad experience with them. They just went out of business. You buy the number from the phone company at a discount, or you buy it and you don't even have to worry about it. It's still in the yellow pages for another year. You get all the benefit. It's a simple transaction. It's logically seeing the value in intangible assets. Repurpose your products in new markets. Identify players in new markets you can joint venture or partner with. Sales forces. That's what that is. Who has the internet, email expertise, affiliate, software, infrastructure, email lists, IT staff, equipment, software you need or want to access? I have a client that has all this sophisticated software that if we bought it, it would cost us $400,000. I made a joint venture with him. He's providing access to it, in essence becoming our ASP, and he's getting a share of the revenue for a project that I'm invested in. How powerful is one's brand? Well, the more powerful your brand, the more profitable the strategic alliances. If you could tie in with FedEx, with Sony, with McDonald's, with Disney, what else can you do with your brand? Or who else has a brand they don't fully deploy or exploit? Who else, God bless you, who else's brand can you deploy or ethically exploit? How many different ways can you do it? How many different ways can you do it? I mean, Healthy Choice is a licensing company. Do you know that? Isn't it? They just license their brand to all kinds of appropriate people. Goes both ways. Disney, McDonald's. I mean, these people work licensing their product. I don't know if Don McDonald still has Disney, but Disney's products were in McDonald's. They had joint co-branding. Disney got $50 million worth of advertising. McDonald's got a hot tie-in with really something really exciting to kids that drove them in for the free meal gift. Implementing alliances and acquisitions. You got to do an inventory opportunity audit. Make a list of what do you possess that would make for a strategic alliance internally or externally. What products or services? Do you have a distribution channel that you have in value? A story. Years ago, we had a client who came to us back when the aerobics was really hot, big deal. They only had 2 products in their line, exercise attire. It was neat stuff. Sales were starting to slide. They were desperate for a better solution. They had a very limited staff. They didn't have a lot of creativity. They were struggling with what to do. I looked at their business probingly and realized that in my mind, their asset wasn't their 2 products, it was their distribution channel. They had as their clients Nordstrom's, Target, Park Lane Hosiery, which may or may not be in business anymore, but it was like 2,000 stores in retail. Kmart's, when Kmart was solid. They had like 8,000 stores that loved them, and they had a great relationship with their buyers. I said the solution is simple. Go on a road trip, go to every hot market in the country, go to every really hot athletic club. Every one of them has a little shop where you can buy drinks, and there's almost in every major hot market some designer that's come up with a really hot t-shirt or a hot sweatband or a hot design for a jacket that sells 4 of them a year in that store. Find out who they are and figure out how to take over the product. Immediately these people said, well, we don't want to be distributors and make a little profit. I said, then don't be. Let the person that you find in each market have 100% of the rights to the 2 stores they have distribution in. Then give them 5% of the sales and everything else you do, and take over and just take a license on their brand. They did that and they made millions of dollars. You might be missing the boat. Your distribution channel. It could be the stores you've got, the field sales force, the trade shows you reach. It could be all kinds of things you've never thought about. The sales personnel you got, the sales methodology you use. It could be a process you can either license or license from somebody else. Most always on a very low fixed and a high variable basis. So you're paying for performance, not for possibility or potential. Technology, software, hardware, other productive processes, methodologies, anything that will improve or increase performance, productivity, profitability. Underutilization, you find somebody that doesn't have full, like we did one time, we found for one of our clients that couldn't afford to expand their service personnel. I found companies that had enormously qualified service personnel and they were on salary and they were only getting 3/4 utility. I made a deal to only pay incrementally for the hours we used and schedule them at their convenience, and they were exhilarated because they got a good portion of their capital outlays reduced. We got brilliant $100,000 a year people for only incrementally whatever, $100 an hour whenever we needed them. And we paid real, we didn't pay a markup. We paid actual cost. I was very good at negotiating, and you can be too. Other productive, as I said, facilities equipment, underutilization. I mean, maybe somebody's got a massive storage facility that's computerized and everything else. I have a friend that had one, and he was using a fourth of it. It was owned outright. He offered me incrementally use of any part I wanted for his hard incremental cost. Well, I'd have to pay for the equipment, the staff, the forklifts, anything else. It's pretty neat. There's a rule of business. Whatever is important to you is always going to be worth more to somebody else. You just got to figure out who's got a bigger need to have the problem solved than even you do. It's an opportunity for you. It's a solution to a problem for somebody else. But you have to verbalize it because they never realized it. Expanding your growth possibilities. Who are the big people, businesses I want to reach? What other products? You got to make that down. Make a list. Who are the people, the businesses I want to reach? What are the products, services, or options do people typically purchase prior to buying your product, your service? Remember I talked earlier about that? You make a list of all the things that people typically buy before, during, and after the purchase of your product. Those are other logical products either you can sell or logical vendors or providers who could sell your product in a joint venture. Let's see. What events, activities, or changes typically occur to cause someone to want or need your various products or services? Those are providers, companies, prospective entities that could be joint venture participants. For example, what do they read? What do they buy? What do they do? What do they think about? Where do they go before they buy your product or service? What event happens? You talk about a burglary. Where is it happening? Maybe you can make a joint venture with the police and laugh about it, but a lot of public sectors are becoming profiteers and becoming commercialized these days, you know it? Who provides these services now? What assets do I need that I do not have? Ask yourself that. What tangible and intangible assets? What proficiencies, what competencies that I could joint venture with? Expanding your growth possibilities. Did I already do this? This is what I just did, right? Push the wrong button. What periodicals, advisor materials are used by the market I want to reach? Who provides those products or services now? Showing you who to go to. What problem or opportunity does your product, service solve for your prospect or client? Make sure you understand that, because that's what you're in the process of doing, solving a problem. What other type of business, organization, profession has more to gain than even you do by seeing you either acquire a client or sell a specific product, service, etc.? Easy example. You might have a vendor or provider that's complacent to you. There might be somebody who'd love to have your business. They would love to see, if they had your business, they'd love to see you grow your business. They might be more motivated to fund advertising, salespeople, product development, market penetration if you gave them all of the business that would come from that, wouldn't they? That's just one example. This is part of a 2.5-day program, so I'm going through it quickly. Did I already pass it? Maybe I didn't. Hold on. What other market or industry could use benefit from selling your product or system methodologies? A lot of people don't realize maybe you have a technology that works incredible in your area of distribution or retail, but it would apply equally as well in 100 other variants of retail or distribution. Think about this. What is the MNW of my client prospect worth to someone else? I was in the hard money investment field when I got started in the early 70s. Losing my voice. We sold gold, silver, rare coins, gold mutual funds. We wanted people who subscribe to financial newsletters. The financial newsletter publishers made almost bupkis because they weren't good marketers. Someone who had 100,000 subscribers may have made 200 grand a year. We were able to see those people as the lead generators for our business, and we went to them on joint ventures and we made millions of dollars from them and gave them hundreds of thousands of dollars. When they couldn't afford or justify mailing their promotions because they only broke even, we would take them over and fund them because a break even to us was a hell of a lot better than subsidizing a loss on a lead generation. And we made a deal with them. We became their recommended vendors, their premier providers. You got to use nonlinear thinking. Am I making sense to all of you? Is this interesting? Is it stimulating your mind? Is it broadening your capacity to see possibilities?